r/AskReddit by Reddify. What is an essential, not so obvious skill in life? Knowing how to fail. By that I mean failing. And not letting it break you. Or throwing a tantrum. Also, knowing that failing at something doesn't make you a failure. If that makes sense. Highly underrated ability here. I see college kids all the time who live in fear of failing and who go to pieces when it inevitably happens. Parental pressure. Allowing yourself to say I don't know and I've changed my mind rather than either making things up that you hope are right or doggedly defending a position in the face of changing evidence. Edit. I would also add that another related skill in life is being able to accept both of those phrases when another says them to you. Edit 2. By the way, I first heard it phrased this precise way in a song called Get It Right by Frank Turner. Felt like giving credit where it's due. Frank Turner is a hit. Admit when you're wrong. Take responsibility for your actions and apologize, if necessary, especially at work. This will get you so far. This is the thing that makes up people's minds about you. You will almost always be favored if you own up to a mistake. Apologize for making it. And ask how to prevent it from happening again. We just cut a guy from training because he refused to take responsibility for any mistake that he made. Which we would have been fine with considering he was in training and mistakes happen when you're new. And ask how to prevent it from happening again. I find volunteering a possible solution works well too. Relaxing in traffic. It's going to happen. You're going to be stuck in traffic. Honking and flailing and freaking out and changing lanes 6 times to get 1 or 2 car lengths ahead doesn't help anything. Learn how to patiently wait. I listen to audiobooks and actually look forward to my commute home. You aren't stuck on traffic. You are traffic. Realizing this reduced my impatience. Yep. You and all the other cars are literally in it together. And it goes so much better if everyone acts as a team instead of a random assortment of entitled assholes. Having a sense of humor. I find it useful for when things go terribly wrong and or ironically wrong. I'm pretty convinced that there are some people who just fully lack a sense of humor. Like it's a congenital defect or something. Like being born with a tail or extra fingers. I'm not an expert. But it's really the only thing I can think of to explain these people. They're the sort who laugh with the laugh tracks on sitcoms. But don't really understand why they're laughing. Like my friend who says he has no appreciation whatsoever of music. I just can't fathom it. He said doesn't make him feel anything. He just didn't come with our whole friendship group to a New Year's festival. Even though music wasn't the only part of it. Admitting a mistake. Admit it immediately and people tend to forget you ever made it. Try to hide it. Deny it. Or argue it and people will never let you forget it. Or if they do remember it. It's usually in a positive way. Like yeah. They messed up. But they owned up to it and were dedicated to fixing their mistake. I remember those things as a positive reflection of that person's character. Active listening. Can you please tell me more about that? Edit. I was trying to show a way you could help someone expand and elaborate on a subject. But thank you all for telling me more about active listening. Makes eye contact and nods in agreement. Knowing when and how to ask for help. Edit. My first Reddit silver. Everyone needs help at some point. Edit. Since we are here in AskReddit, I wonder, can you receive gold and silver for the same comment? Edit. Yes. Yes you can, and it's so very beautiful. Thank you kind strangers. Edit. My first platinum too? I haven't even had my coffee yet. Edit. Can somebody please help me? I can't stop editing my post and causing cancer. And also not being ashamed to need help. It took me a long time to realize that asking for help doesn't mean you're incompetent. And accepting help offered to you doesn't mean you're being pitied. Funny enough, I learned this from one of my first jobs. I was a barista. Instead of getting angry at me, my manager came over and helped me take care of the line. They waited until all customers had been taken care of, then kindly had a talk with me about calling for backup and requesting help. They told me they understood the desire to be able to tackle a challenge alone. But calling for backup is a strength, not a weakness. She was one of the best bosses I've ever had. Imagine having a good manager once in a while lol. Edit. Wow, my first silver. Thank you, kind stranger. Tact. If a message needs to be transmitted, but you piss someone off with how you do it, they are no longer listening to what you say, just how you're saying it. As a lifelong 40-year-old blunt speaker, I still struggle with this. My entire professional career has been military and law enforcement, which are two professions that are slightly accommodating of this. But I still have to talk to myself in my head before I open my mouth in mixed company. I read somewhere, probably here on Reddit, that people won't remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And if you think back to a negative interaction with someone, it's true. You won't remember word for word what they said, and it won't even matter. You know that what they said made you feel angry / uncomfortable / upset. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou. I learned this from Craig Ferguson. Less of a skill, and more of a realization. Does this have to be said? Does this have to be said by me? Does this have to be said by me now? Try to follow that rule and you'll avoid many pointless fights, soured friendships and blank stares. Edit. Jesus skateboarding Christ. I just woke up, and it seems my little comment gathered a few more replies than I was expecting. Thank you for the gold. Kind internet strangers. My dad told me this once, and it's one of the few pieces of his advice I've truly taken to heart. Your dad is Craig Ferguson? Knowing how to cook. It's not very feasible to live off of instant food, and eating out can be expensive. It can also lead to a healthier lifestyle, and you have more control over what goes into your meals. I personally believe cooking for yourself is the healthiest change you can make. Absolutely. No matter how much butter you think is too much in that pot of broccoli, I promise it's less than what the restaurant put in it. Being okay with being alone. Edit. I did not think this would get so many responses. And to add, thank you for the gold and silver kind redditors. To add to my initial statement, being alone is one of the most important life skills you can ever have. Because when you surround yourself with people constantly jump from one relationship to another, it's easy to lose yourself trying to please or fix someone else. When you are alone, you start to understand yourself more. Start doing things you enjoy as there is no one else to please. Laugh a little harder at movies because there is no judgment. And you really tap into parts of you that make you understand that pleasing someone else at your own expense is not worth it at all. Does it get lonely? Absolutely. But when you are willing to move away from the comfort zone of solitude and spend time with people or make an effort in a relationship, you know it's real. Because there is nothing those people can give you that you don't give yourself already. Edit 2. Thanks for the cake day wishes everyone. Yes. This. Definitely a difference between being alone and being lonely. Everyone needs to be comfortable with being alone. Relevant username. Being assertive. And not passive aggressive. Aggressive or just passive. Also being open-minded is a good one to have. Can you elaborate on the being assertive and not passive aggressive? Aggressive or just passive thing? Just being direct. Not angry or emotionally charged. Just have a clear idea of what you want and express it clearly. People appreciate this. A lot of people never learned how to swim. It's pretty easy to learn. And you don't want to be in a situation where you're in water and don't know what to do, regardless of how likely it is. Edit. It's been pointed out a lot that even just learning to float and not panic is something important. And also, I get it. It's not easy for everyone. But there are a lot of people who have never even tried, and that's mainly why I'm saying it. Got swimming lessons at 27 and my instructor was 16. Was very humbling, but fun as hell. I love swimming now. That's pretty awesome that you pursued that. Chewing with your mouth closed. My mother-in-law eating almonds is surely what awaits me in hell. Crunch. Smack. Slurp. Crunch. Repeat. Carrot 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 JUSTR let carrot 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 MERR die. Ah please. Had a coworker in next cubicle that had a big gulp cup of ice. Swirl 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 pour. XLIT. Crunch 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 crunch. Repeat until big gulp cup empty. Go to kitchen to refill. Same number of swirls. Same number of crunches. Same cadence. Repeat until heat death of universe. Basic computer skills. I work in a call center and it's absolutely baffling how poor people are with computers. It's 2019 people. If you're going to do your job on a computer you should know how to use it. This one bothers me because you know damned well these people have computers at home. It's like they walk through a magical barrier at work each day and suddenly forget how to even restart a computer. Less and less people use PCs at home regularly nowadays. More people are using their phones as their primary tech device. It's only going to get worse GBH. Knowing when to walk away. If the conversation is over, say see ya and walk the duck away. Standing there for another 30 seconds cause you think it's rude to leave is weird as duck. And awkward. Normal workplace conversations last a couple minutes. Tops. Geo away Carol. I think Carol fancies you. Maybe tell Carol to stay a while. Punctuality. A friend of mine asks how important is punctuality to you in interviews, to see how they respond. He's had a few I don't know responses, but for the most part it's split 70/30 on being on time is important to me, and proper punctuation is important to me. Using the correct punctuation is very important. Realizing when some people just want to be left alone. Don't keep pushing. And similarly, being okay with being with someone without needing to actively interact with them. When I'm having a panic attack I love when someone is there. But I don't really want to talk most of the time. I feel like this might go hand in hand with some of these other comments. But be able to admit that you don't know something. It took me a little to get past this, but after being in a healthcare setting for a bit, I realized it could be critical if you're not honest with yourself. The thing is, human beings often prefer a bad explanation to no explanation at all. And I think admitting you don't know something is an extension of this. As a species, we are just so terrified of I don't know. Very true. Though in healthcare nothing will sink you faster than making up a symptom, time of treatment/procedure, or lying to a patient. That will ruin your career before it starts. How to plunge a toilet fast. Sounds like you need a poop knife. Not everybody has one. Huh. Learn how to change a tire. Yes, I know about AAA and roadside assistance through your car insurance. But if they can't get to you, you should know how to do it. Or to jump a battery. Found a guy sitting in our apartment parking lot one day, sitting helpless with his hood open. Got him back on the road in about 3 minutes. But he had no idea how to jump a battery or even that it was dead. All he knew was that the car wouldn't start. It's so hard to get someone to help you jump a car that it's almost pointless to know how. My battery died at a rest stop in Florida a few years ago. I had jumper cables and knew how to use them. Spent 3 hours asking people to help me jump my car and being told no before I finally just called AAA for a jump. About half the people wouldn't even acknowledge me when I approached them to ask. Some just rolled up their windows and waved me away. The other half were worried about damaging their car, made up some excuse not to, or just said no. How to be likable. Being likable is a very valuable skill to have. You'll often get a lot farther with than being qualified or performing your job well in a workplace. Well, that really depends on a lot of other factors, like mannerism, attractiveness, being able to dress well, having a sense of humor. It also depends on the type of people you work with, as different people find different things likable. The ability to make meaningful progress or learn comprehensively about something you have no personal interest or stake in. I hope I unlock this skill someday. It's the eternal answer to school children's question of, when are we ever gonna use this? When are you going to use the skill to learn about what you don't care about? Every day. Develop a thick skin. Edit. First comment with 1k updates. I've peaked. I've worked in a variety of settings, with different management styles, and I've been involved with our duties. Being able to take a bit of flack, brush off a slight or snub, or otherwise allow a sniping comment to bounce off you is ducking essential in the workplace. Because pettiness and insecurity are a huge part of workplace grief. Knowing how to say no politely and assertively. It will save you countless hours and thousands of dollars. especially to salespeople. More especially to car salespeople. I have found it helpful to know exactly what I want before I even walk into the car dealership. Last time I went car shopping, I did my research, built my ideal car on the OEM's website, and went into 3 dealerships just to test drive and ask for a price. Round 2 was bringing the quotes I got to the other dealerships and letting them bid each other down. I politely declined every add-on except for maintenance/extended warranty by saying I won't need that. Please remove it from the quote. The entire process took 3 afternoons and I didn't pay for a single thing I hadn't planned for and came in under budget. Having my ideal car in black and white was very helpful to avoid upselling. Knowing when to leave people alone. Make sure to like and subscribe so we can watch together.